Hey everybody, Josh Sheridan here with the Barely Legal Podcast. Today is officially the earliest podcast I've ever done. My buddy Dave Sweeney was nice enough to come by at 7 a.m. to talk to us about a myriad of things. He is from Ireland. He moved here from New York with his wife and has two kids. His kids actually go to school with my daughter, but he's quite an interesting fellow. He's got a great taste in music. He works in various areas of construction here locally, and he's just all around a cool guy. So thank you for coming on the show, Dave.
Thanks for having me, Josh. Pleasure to be here.
All right, so I was joking with you in the parking lot before we came in. This is probably like halfway into your day. What time are you normally up?
Normally, around about 4 o'clock.
Are you really? Now, is that for
Usually.
work purposes or is it just...
No, I go to Orange Theory.
That's right. Did you already do that today?
No, they closed all the studios
Oh,
because
God,
of the
that's right. I didn't even
coronavirus.
think about that.
Yeah.
So I've seen a bunch of stuff on social media about people doing prison workouts now.
Yeah, they started posting online. They're showing workouts from home where people are lifting paint cans and stuff like that. But
I'm
yeah.
kind of interested what this whole thing is going to spawn, just in the way we conduct our lives and the way we spend our money. And
yeah, I don't know where it's going to end. Because right now we're in that area of uncertainty as to how bad it's actually going to get here. I mean, we've seen how bad it's gotten in China and Italy. So how it's going to get here, I don't know. I mean,
now
it's not too late for the actions that President Trump has taken.
Oh yeah, well yeah, he's on top of it. He's on top of it. No worries there.
It's under control. It'll be
It's
gone.
a
It's going to be gone by April.
It's a liberal hoax. Don't worry about it. Now you just went to Ireland, right?
Yeah, I was there just 2 weweeks ago today.
Oh my
actually.
God.
So stay 6 feet away.
Well, it's fine. But I said I feel normally I purport to be Irish, but with you in the room, I kind of feel embarrassed about saying such. But I like to say the Irish have faced much
No, you're
worse.
good. I mean, as soon as I seen the Sheridan name, and
okay, good. I got your blessing.
You're definitely Irish, yeah.
Anyway, so did you go with the family or by yourself?
Just myself and the wife.
And was it for fun? Was it just
friend? One of my best friends from school was getting married.
Oh
so
wow!
Just went for 4 nights. And
what's an Irish wedding like?
Bananas.
Is it?
Yeah, we landed at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. Went down, checked into our hotel, had a quick nap, woke up, and essentially started drinking and stopped drinking at 2 o'clock on Sunday morning. Went home to the hotel, got 4 hours sleep, got up, got into a taxi, went back to the airport and flew home.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Ireland was it?
It was in County Wicklow, which is about an hour south of Dublin.
Okay. And where are you from originally?
I'm from Donegal, which is in the northwest.
Okay.
So
now,
3.5 hours.
Legend has it, or if you see this picture over here to my left, that this is my great-grandfather who was an attorney in Sligo. So where's Sligo?
Sligo is 45 minutes away from my hometown, which is Donegal town. I went to school in Sligo.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I know I felt a kinship. I right away when I met you guys when Stella started Christ the King, I was like, you got to make friends with Lila because I got to hang out with her daddy. So Dina knows that I have like a down low crush on you. So
thanks.
Anyway, so how was it in Ireland? Did the people over there worried about it or?
Well, at the time, 2 weeks ago, it was only really kicking in. I think there had been one case in Ireland that had a person had been in Italy and they flew back and they were in Northern Ireland. So other than that, there were more cases in Tampa when we left than there was in Ireland at the time.
Yeah.
I think it's changed a little bit, but not as much because they took action pretty fast. They have everything shut down.
Yeah.
No St. Patrick's Day parades, no pub. All the pubs are closed. All the
I know.
schools are closed. Everything. I mean,
it was
crazy.
The saddest St. Patrick's Day in history that I can remember.
I was dancing around my living room yesterday with my daughter just to have a bit of a parade ourselves.
Well, Dina was asking me. She's like, I bet Dave's bummed out. And I said, I don't even know that the Irish really care about St. Patrick's Day. Every day's St. Patrick's Day for them. I mean, is that like as big of a deal for you guys as it is for everybody over here?
I mean, I think being away from Ireland, it's bigger now. But growing up in Ireland, it was more. I mean, when you're a kid, you just went down,
a Tuesday.
You hung around the town, and you did what you did every other day. You just didn't have any school. That was it.
Now, I said you work in construction, and it's probably not an apt description of what you do. What is it specifically that you do?
Well, I work for a company called Spectra Contract Flooring.
Okay.
They are the biggest commercial flooring contractor in the southeast.
So are you all over the Tampa Bay area, all over Florida?
All over Florida, essentially.
Okay. What jobs are you working on right now?
Right now, we are doing a golf course out in Bel Air.
Oh, wow.
Pelican Golf.
Okay.
So there's a huge development going
So like
on
the
there.
club doing all the floor in there? Or?
Yeah, they built a new clubhouse, so they've got, our contract is like a 1.5 million.
Oh, wow.
So it's all high-end finishes and stuff. And then we're doing the Virage on Bayshore. The new high-rise
wow.
has gone up there.
Wow.
So we did 70.
Is that the thing that the
72
Oxford
units.
Exchange, is it Oxford Exchange guy, or is that the development that's right there on Bayshore that they're trying to open up as like a high-end country club or something like that?
No, that's the one further down.
Okay.
I think we have the contract on that, but we haven't started any work there yet.
Okay. Now, is this slowing you guys down in that regard, or are you guys at work as
We're
usual?
still full steam ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't. I mean, there's 200 people on the Pelican job, so they're like, I don't know if they're going to implement that, limited gathering people on job sites or not, but they haven't yet.
It's crazy. I was telling you, I was at this local coffee place called Paddy's, just there on what is that? McDill.
Down McDill.
McDill and Interbay, and I was talking to the guy, Greg, who owns it, and he said that they closed down Armature Works, which closed down a lot of people's second store, which is going to kill them. And then I guess last night a lot of the bars and restaurants were closed at 5 p.m. So I just it's hard to predict what this is going to do. But anyway, well, let's go on to sunnier topics. How old were you when you moved from Ireland?
21.
Okay, so you spent quite a lot of time over there.
Yeah.
Now, are you an only child, or do you have siblings?
No, I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers.
Oh, wow.
Small
you
Irish
are
family.
Irish Catholic.
Yeah.
So where do you fall in that lineup?
4th.
Okay.
So my parents kind of had us in 2 batches. So we have the older 4. There's 4 kids 2 years apart, and then there's 7 years between myself and the next, and then there's 4 kids maybe about 5.5 years apart.
And what did your parents do?
My dad was in construction.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Is that where you learned it from?
Pretty much.
That's great.
He was a steel fixer when I was younger, and then when we got a little bit older, he started building his own houses. And
I think I remember, maybe I'm misremembering, you told me a story that in Ireland you could pretty much drive around and point out like everything that he worked on. Was that you?
No, may not have been me, but I probably could point around.
Yeah. No, you know what? Okay, I'm mixing you up. When I was just in Scotland, one of the guys that took us on a tour, I think his dad did signs, and he was saying that like any sign that was made in like 4 towns in the past 40 years, his family did. And he's like, did that one, did that one, did that one, did that. So I guess that's probably a little bit more common in the UK than over here, where things have a half-life of about 2 weeks before they get knocked down and rebuilt. So your dad was in construction. What did your mom do?
She was a stay-at-home mom.
Well, I guess with 7 kids, 7 Irish kids.
Non-stop, morning to night. And she's the exact same now. She doesn't stop.
Is your father still alive?
Yeah, both of them still alive.
Do they live over there or over here?
Over there.
Okay. And their health pretty good?
Yeah. My father had a few heart issues last year, but he got a couple of stents put in, so other than that, he's fine.
And what about your siblings? Where are they spread out?
I have my eldest sister, the eldest in the family. She's in New York. I have my youngest sister is in Antwerp. And
Antwerp?
Yeah.
Have you been there?
Have not. I've been to Brussels before, but not Antwerp, and everyone else is in Donegal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and your sister are the only 2 who made it over here.
Yeah, I initially moved over here with my eldest brother, or my older brother, in 2001. Actually, it's nearly exactly 19 years. It was March 28th, 2001. Wow. Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So he stayed for 2 years and left again because of the Celtic Tiger that was happening over there.
What's that?
It was the boom in the early 2000s, where there was a huge construction boom in Ireland.
Okay.
And my dad was building 16 houses, so we went back to run that for him and help him build.
They call that the Celtic Tiger?
The Celtic Tiger. You never heard that expression?
No.
Really?
And it sounds like a bar. Or a
I know.
It's like, if I open a bar, I know I've got the name. So.
Yeah, that's what they call it, the boom.
So what was that? How did that come about? What was that? What's the kind of origins of that? Where did the boom come from? Was there
I just
legislation, or was there a baby
boom,
or was there a...
It was banks giving people 150% mortgages to
Oh,
build
okay.
houses, and and then with all of that, with all the uptake,
Did they
then
have a
came the bust.
2008 of their own?
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it around the same
it
time or?
exact same
Okay,
time.
so they just did the same thing happen with
It
them.
melted the country. It really did.
Gosh.
There were, I think at the time there were like 110,000 houses that were being built that were just left empty.
That's insane.
Now it bounced back again. There's a housing shortage there, but
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's the only kind of light at the end of the tunnel I see with this is there when you're in the minute everything seems like a severe ebb and a flow, but on a long enough timeline it barely registers. So
Yeah, it'll bounce back. It
you
always
just have to
does.
have that perspective. But
Exactly. Yeah.
so growing up in Ireland, now what's the school system like over there? Is it first through eighth and then high school, or is it
No,
different?
it's essentially there's no middle school.
Okay.
So we have elementary school and then high school. So you're at elementary school from 4 to 12, and then high school from 12 to 17.
Now, the siblings that were closer to you in age, did you guys all go to the same school? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Every one of us, we all went to the same school. Everyone went to the same elementary. Everyone went to the same high school.
And I assumed Catholic. Were you guys raised Catholic or Protestant? Or okay,
Catholic.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's usually one or the other,
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah.
Now, I think I asked you this before, and I vaguely recall your answer, but the whole deal with Northern Ireland and the IRA and all that, was that something you were aware of? Had that already kind of passed by?
No,
the
we
time?
we were definitely aware of it. I mean, Donegal town is like 25 minutes from the border,
Yeah.
so there would have been. I mean, not necessarily in my time growing up, but in the 70s, there would have been a big faction of the IRA.
So
that would have been in the town.
for those who don't know, can you kind of just briefly give a history of what I'm talking about?
About the IRA?
Well,
and
just
the troubles?
yeah.
Okay, well, so essentially, England had been ruling Ireland for 800 years, and in 1916, there was a rise and descent. Eamon de Valera was captive, and he was broken out of prison in England and brought back to Ireland by the Irish Republicans. But he couldn't go back to England for fear of getting arrested when the revolution was going on. And the IRA, or the Irish Republicans, decided to do this when World War One was going on, because a lot of the British troops were deployed in Europe. And so they started to target all the politicians, all the high-end politicians, or all the majors in the army. And they essentially were assassinating them, bombings, shootings, whatever. And the British government eventually decided, yeah, okay, we're going to sit down and have peace talks. But the Irish Republicans couldn't send De Valera to England for these talks because they were afraid he was going to get arrested and
Killed or whatever, yeah.
Whatever. So they sent Michael Collins,
Okay.
who was an army general, great army tactician, but not a politician. So when he went over to negotiate, he managed to negotiate getting 26 counties back. And that's why you have that split. So Ireland's made up of 32 counties.
Okay.
You have 26 in the Republic of Ireland and now 6 in Northern Ireland. And when he came back, he was under the impression that it would only be a matter of time before England would give back the other 6 that are in Northern Ireland. That didn't happen. Michael Collins was assassinated for being a traitor. And here we are right now, where we've been fighting to get it back since.
So is it still like a big thing over there?
It is. I mean, it's not as big in terms of the violence. That's pretty much ended, towards the late 90s after there was a big bombing in Oma where they called in a bomb threat, and I don't know, there was a mix-up in communication somewhere. So all the Northern Ireland police force, they moved all the people out from the centre of the town towards the outskirts of the town, but there was a market on that day where they'd parked the car that had the bomb, and they couldn't park it in the center of the town, so they parked it on the outskirts of the town.
Ended up having mass casualties.
Yeah, I don't remember how many people died, but I was in Boston at the time for a summer, and I was watching on the news, and I couldn't believe it. And then after that, I think both sides were like, because there were so many women and kids, and they were like, it's too far. And then with the help,
we'll take this level of bombing, but that's just
and I mean with a huge help from President Clinton and Senator George Mitchell, they sat down. They managed to get both parties to sit down and talk to each other, and they came upon the Good Friday Agreement, peace treaty, and they had Northern Ireland government. Now it's had its ups and downs, and they've broken the government off, and it's been gone and
Well,
back and
net
gone.
positive.
Yeah, I mean it's still the underlying faction is still there because you still have, you still have the Orange parades on July 12th. You still have St. Patrick's. So when you drive through Northern Ireland, you'll go through certain towns and you'll know what
Where
side
you
you're
are,
on
yeah.
in terms of if there's a Union Jack flying or if there's a tricolour flying.
So there's a political component to it,
Yeah.
but then isn't there also a religious
The
component to it?
religious thing as well, yeah.
Okay, how does that break down? Is that
Well, that started.
English Protestant,
Yeah,
Irish
I mean,
Catholic?
my
or-
history isn't great.
Well, the great thing about this show is I like to say for the listeners who don't know, but truly I don't know. So
Don't
you're-
fact check.
Yeah, you're explaining it to me.
Yeah. So it was, I can't remember which king of England he wanted to get married.
Oh,
I think for
yeah.
the seventh
Dina
or
would
eighth
know this.
time.
Dina
and
knows all this stuff, yeah.
And the Catholic Church said, no, you got to stop this. You can't keep doing it. So he broke off. I think it was Richard something, King Richard something.
Okay, that's all right.
But then he broke off and formed Protestantism, and it kind of went from there. And I don't know where the origin of the hatred came from. I think it all just stemmed from the English being in Ireland and treating the Irish like dirt, and pushing them all. There was a guy called Oliver Cromwell, and his line was to hell or to Connacht. So Connacht is on the west coast of Ireland, where all the worst land is all full of rocks, and so it's either you move there or you're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's, I mean, there's all sorts of different expressions, and so the Irish people moved to Connacht, and they worked the lands. They got rid of all the rocks. They planted crops, and then the English went and took all that from them as well, and that's how the famine started. And I mean, there should have never been a famine in Ireland.
Yeah.
Because they were exporting all the potatoes from the country out of the country.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just
It's. I was telling you about this when I got back from Scotland, but so in 2008 we went to Ireland. I wish we would have gotten past Dublin, but we kind of just got stuck in downtown Dublin and never really made it out of there. But I'm sure
Temple Bar's a fun area. I'm
yeah,
sure you were there.
yeah. There's you got to do a couple trips over there. But then we just did Scotland in February, and there's something about the history. It just everything is drenched with like history. There's probably a more poetic way to say it, but you feel it in your bones, in your lungs. You feel like stuff happened here. Like there were wars fought here. There was art made here. There was, countries changed here. And it's just it permeates from everywhere. And even if you're, at the North Face store, you can walk out and look right and see, Highclere Castle or see whatever the thing is, and it's just like it's everywhere in your lungs. So, living in Tampa, it's like that was the first Starbucks in South Hillsborough County. It just doesn't register.
It's funny. The hotel that I stayed at recently, I think it was, well, they claim to be the oldest hotel in Ireland. It was established in 1608.
Oh, the fact that can even still run. I mean,
yeah.
Just from a plumbing perspective.
Well, we had plumbing issues the first day that we were there, but that.
So, growing up there, did any of that register with you, or is it just you didn't know anything else, and that's just kind of how life was?
Yeah, that's just kind of how life was. It was. I mean, life was great there.
Yeah,
it really, really was.
Did you have music in your household?
Yeah. My dad played. He still plays guitar and sings.
And what type of music were you introduced to as a?
Me, I would say all my music taste comes from my eldest brother.
Okay.
My
What's his name?
Dale.
Derek.
But
Okay.
He's called
Dale
Dale.
for short.
Yeah.
How old is he now?
He would be 44.
Oh, old man. How old are you?
40.
Okay.
I was 40
I'm
in
44.
December.
Okay. So tell me what music was Dale playing that?
Well, he went through all sorts of his, but Thin Lizzy was his first.
Oh my God.
Yeah, So
now, when did he die? He died like in early 80s, like 80...
81, I think it was.
Okay, so you would have been too young to have seen him or known much about him at that time.
Yeah.
Now, what's his story? Because he was a black gentleman.
Yeah.
Is there a significant community of black people in Ireland?
There wouldn't be. No, there would be now,
Okay.
but back when he was born in Ireland, there definitely wouldn't have been. It would have only been in Dublin.
So we're talking about Phil Lynott, who was a singer, and I think he played bass, right? He played bass for Thin Lizzy, which is an amazing rock band from Ireland. And if you go to Dublin, there's quite a few statues and murals dedicated to him. But anyway, so Thin Lizzy, who else?
Thin Lizzy, The Doors, Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, a lot of
Yeah.
hard rock, heavy
Were the
rock.
Pogues big in Ireland?
Pogues were huge in Ireland. Yeah.
What's the singer's name? He's got
Shane MacGowan.
Yeah, he's got the worst teeth you've ever seen
Yeah,
in a person's mouth.
Not the prettiest guy, but he's got a hell of a voice.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So
he was built for radio.
That's right. Well, if I can identify with that. So, but anyway, you know, there's I think I've talked to you before. Kind of the whole reason I started this show was my love for Mark Maron, and he's got his podcast, WTF podcast. But one of the common themes on that is when he talks music with people about the importance older brothers have in the life of a young fan of music. And because I was an only child, so I remember my dad had. Well, the big thing that I got from him was George Carlin. He had George Carlin records, and so I think that planted the seeds of social anarchy and just kind of questioning the system.
Did you like your dad's music when you were growing up?
I did. He was really into folk. Like he liked Pete Seeger, Bob Dylan, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
There's some other people who I'm drawn to. But the funniest thing though is my dad had like a huge crush on Tina Turner. And
really?
So yeah, Tina Turner kind of holds this weird spot in my formative years in music. But
flashbacks.
Yeah, but the two records that I remember that I had Grease. And then I had like a Duran Duran record, and those the Duran Duran, Grease, and George Carlin. So it's a wonder I'm not schizophrenic. Yeah, that kind of runs the gamut. But I think being an only child is kind of what my entry point into music was, is because I just at home, you know, had two parents who were a little bit older parents, so I had to fill my time with something.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So now, did he play, your older brother?
He played a little bit of guitar, but not for very long.
And what about Irish music, like traditional Irish music? Was that in the household at all? Was that around?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I learned to play the tin whistle when I was young, but the tin whistle.
The tin whistle, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I played that when I was younger, but traditional music was never really big in our house. My dad was into Irish country music. He was into country music in general.
Irish country music.
I can't even describe it. I'll give you a few artists to go and look at.
I want to check it out.
Brace your ears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And anytime you country.
My mother was more of a rocker. She was into Thin Lizzy, Phil Lynott, and stuff like that.
So the decision to move over to the States, how did that come about?
Where to start? Okay, so in 1998, myself and my best friend spent the summer in Boston. It was his decision. He had a cousin in Boston.
So you're 20, 21, thereabouts?
18.
18, okay.
Yeah, and he said, you know, we didn't have any plans. Do you want to go to Boston for the summer? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So we went to Boston, spent the summer there.
Where in Boston?
We were in Brighton.
Okay.
Big Irish community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, were you accepted over there? Were you treated as royalty, or were you?
I mean, there were so many Irish people there, so it was just like
legit.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like we went to another town in Ireland, essentially.
Because there's a whole other quote unquote Boston Irish, which are very different from you.
Very different. Yeah. I've learned that.
Did you learn it on that trip, or
not on that trip?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
You know, after I moved to New York, I would go up there every year, and then got to learn that part of it as well.
Not as pleasant of people as people.
Not so much
from proper Ireland, but so you went over to Boston. What did you do?
Over to Boston, I was essentially labouring for a carpentry company, carrying sheetrock and 2x4s up flights of stairs. I lost like 30 pounds that summer.
I've done that work before, and man alive,
yeah.
if you're worried about your kids going to college or anything, have them do that for a summer in Florida.
I know it was a killer, and again the heat. You know, I mean Boston, anywhere here is hot in the summertime, so
pretty gnarly,
and we're just not used to that type of weather. So long story short, finished up, went back, finished school, and while we were there, we spent a weekend in New York, and I was just amazed by the size, the sheer volume of people, and just the hustle and bustle and noise. It was, I mean, from where I'm from, 3,500 people to go to New York City, you're like, holy moly, this is
So New York is the
unreal.
closest you get in this country to that feeling I was describing for me in Ireland and
Yeah.
everything else. You
Yeah.
get that kind of rush of blood,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But so
I get that every time I go to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, and you ended up moving there for a while, right?
Yeah. Went back to Ireland, finished school, didn't know what I wanted to do, and then my older brother came out for a friend's wedding in New York, and he came back and said we should move out. And I was working my brother's bar at the time. I wasn't really leaving anything.
Your brother had a bar?
My brother had a bar.
What was it called?
The National.
Oh man,
Yeah, that was a fun
good time.
place.
Yeah.
Especially when you're 19, 20.
Where was that?
It was right in the center of Donegal town.
What's the drinking age there?
18.
Oh, yeah.
Well, legally.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
18 months.
Yeah.
Practically, but
Yeah.
so oh man, that's awesome.
That was
Is it still
chaos.
open or no?
No,
Okay.
no. He had that for almost 10 years, and then he moved to another place, and he had that for like 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
And then got out of it.
Okay.
But my dad has a bar there.
Does he really?
Yeah.
What's that called?
It's called the Forge.
The Forge?
Yeah.
Amazing names, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The building was an old forge. It used to be.
Well, that's the great thing about Ireland, in my experience, just in Dublin, is, we were looking at the bars and it's like, do you want to go to the church? Well, what's the church? It used to be a church where Arthur Guinness got married.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the bank? Sure. What's the bank? It used to be a bank. We keep all the kegs downstairs
we're very literal.
where the cellars are. Well, but it's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Better than what do we have here? Beef O'Brady's, the most pejorative, obvious Irish, it's almost insulting.
Yeah.
You want to go to Bennigan's or O'Brady? But anyway, so well, that's cool. I didn't know he still had one in
Yeah.
I suspect, and maybe you'll tell me otherwise, but it's a lot easier to keep a bar open over there than it is over here.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, in our town, it's pretty competitive because there's a lot of bars. I mean, when I was growing up, there was 18 different pubs that we could have gone to.
But people actually go there. It's a meeting place.
Yeah.
It's more of a communal.
It's very
gathering.
very social. Yeah.
When we were in Scotland, I saw that too. Even out on the countryside, we went to this place, and that's just where everybody in the neighborhood had dinner. They just kind of meet there, and it wasn't necessarily that they're going there to get shit faced. It's just that's what you do. You talk about your day at work, and people brought their dogs in, and it was
a couple of pints in the evening or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I hope I don't live in Florida forever. I want there to be a period of my life where I can live abroad, and I would love to do that. But so when did you meet Nikki?
In 2002. So I was in New York just over a year.
Okay.
When we met. Yeah.
And now Nikki's his wife, by the way. Now I remember vaguely, and you'll have to remind me. Was she in FSU, and then somehow
she went to FSU, and as soon as she finished there, she moved to New York.
Did she study design or fashion or any of that?
She actually she did Italian as a foreign language.
Oh wow! Can she speak it?
She can. Yeah, I mean, anytime we go to Italy, she gets us through it.
Gets the
she doesn't practice it very much, but if she was in it, she would be able to do
That's
it. That's
crazy.
Sure.
So what was her maiden name?
Seriani.
Oh, okay.
So she has three Italian grandparents.
Okay, I was gonna say why Italian, but that's why. So now where was she from originally?
She was born in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then moved to Tallahassee when she was 10.
Okay. And she studied Italian. Then how'd she end up in New York?
She wanted to get into the fashion industry.
Okay.
So she moved up to a couple of friends she had there,
and what did she do? What did she do in that?
She worked for a swimwear designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like actually designing, the construction, the sales,
more business marketing.
Okay. And how did you guys come across each other?
We met each other in a bar.
Okay. Well,
surprise.
I asked that question. Well, no, that's
but that's
I've asked that question a good deal, and I've gotten Grindr and Tinder a lot more than. I think we're a little bit older.
We did
than
old
that.
school, yeah.
So a bar now is kind of old school and an acceptable thing. It's not a bad answer anymore.
She was on a bachelorette party and she was up dancing on the bar, and I was like, yeah, I like her.
I like her. Yeah. You know what's funny? I was just thinking this when you said that it's come up 3 times now in this interview. How many life decisions, the seed of them, are rooted around someone else getting married? Whether visiting a town you've never been to before, meeting someone whose guard is let down because of a bachelor or a bachelorette party. I was talking to this guy, Pat Clemwish, last Friday, and he's a doctor. He went to Harvard, but he's traveled the world. He lived in Brazil. He lived in Peru. He's going to Kenya. And and we were talking about how deltas, like landmass deltas,
Yeah.
how they almost anywhere in the world there's a delta, there's a type of music that was spawned from the delta because of how much of a port it was for foreign people to
Yeah.
come into, but then also just trade routes and people coming up and down and being passed to. And I wonder if in a kind of tangential but similar way, weddings kind of are these turning points
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people in their lives to meet
I
meet your spouse who lived somewhere else and you would have never had an opportunity to, but for that weekend,
exactly,
or
yeah.
you visited a place because you were going there for a
It
wedding.
was so rare because it was my first time in that particular bar. One of my work colleagues he said, "You want to go for a couple of drinks?" So we went in there. We were surprisingly at the time sober.
Yeah.
They were not so much
Right.
sober on the bachelorette party, but I mean, we just hung out with their friends for the night and had a lot of fun.
There's this book, I can't remember the full title of it, but it's called Black Swan, and it talks about how history does these Black Swan events, which things don't normally happen, but then just once something happening that
Yeah.
normally doesn't happen can either speed up the evolution of something or change directions. And so in a very kind of small way, these little Black Swan weddings that
Kind of like serendipity.
yeah,
Type of thing.
so
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was on the bar dancing, you thought you liked her, and it just took off from
Yeah,
there.
we started talking. I asked her for her number. She gave me her number, and again at the time, because in Ireland you don't really date, or you didn't really date then. You always knew the person that
Yeah.
you ended up going out with or seeing. So it was a new
thing for you.
new game for me to play type
Yeah.
of thing. So I had, I'd gone on a few dates and they hadn't worked out, or people are always surprised when you actually call them.
Yeah.
And then it was like the
Psycho? Why are you calling
well,
me?
there's so many rules with it, a 3-day rule, and then
Yeah.
you don't, if you wait more than 3 days and you're not that interested
Yeah.
or whatever. And
Earlier,
I'm
then you're jumping the gun.
This is just too complicated.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why can't I just ask for a number and then call her tomorrow and figure
Right,
out when we want to
right.
go out? So, and I just said to her, I was like, look, I'm warning you, I'm going to call.
Yeah.
And she was kind of looking at me funny. I was like, well, I think, the way it seems to be around here is people will get your number and they'll never call you. I was like, if I'm getting your number, I'm going to call.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, sure, no problem. So I called her 4 days later and told her I couldn't see her for 2 weeks because I was working nights.
It's just not working out.
Yeah. She was like, what? I was like, nah, I'm being serious. I'm working nights. I can't go on a date or whatever right now.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a call and we'll figure out something else.
Did you ever see the movie Swingers?
Yeah.
When he meets the girl in the bar and he's like, hey, I'm just giving a call. He's like, it cut off the last time, and like in the course of an hour he's called her 20 times. He's like, it's more me, it's not you. I don't think it's working out.
Yeah.
Well, let me let you into a secret, which you probably know, but the Irish accent, you could have probably called whenever you wanted to, and you.
Yeah, that was one thing I
opens
learned
a lot.
pretty
English and
quickly
Irish
in New York.
accents over
Yeah.
here open a lot of doors for you
Yeah,
that
yeah.
otherwise wouldn't be. So.
Yeah.
So, skipping ahead, did you guys get married in New York? Did you get married in Ireland?
We got married in St. Pete.
Really?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in St. Pete?
Do you know the Postcard Inn on the
Yes.
beach down in St.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
How did that come to pass?
Well, Nikki's brother has
Oh, that's
lived in
right.
Tampa
That's
for
right.
whatever 12, 13 years, and we used to come down every year. And I always said, if I'm going to get married, which I was a commitment phobe anyway, but if I'm going to get married, I want to do it on the beach.
Yeah.
In flip flops.
That's awesome.
So we didn't actually do it on the beach in flip flops because there was a monsoon that morning.
Oh my
and
God.
It flooded the beach.
Oh, no.
But we got married in the garden at.
Well, if
Postcard
raining
Inn.
on your wedding day is a good luck, then
Yeah.
if monsoon on your wedding day,
Yeah.
you guys are going
It was only in the morning, but it flooded the beach enough to where we couldn't have the ceremony on
Yeah.
it. But the rest of the day was perfect.
So Dina and I got married on Anna Maria Island
Okay.
Beach. So we did the whole flip-flops in the sand thing. But Dina's brother, Derek, and our sister-in-law, Katie, they decided that they were going to get married in Positano in Italy. Which,
Okay.
have you been to Italy? I would
Yeah.
imagine. Okay.
Yeah.
So Positano is kind of the coastal, like the rocky cliffs, and gorgeous, gorgeous town. But the day of their wedding, they had like the biggest hurricane, and not a hurricane, but whatever the similar thing is over there, and the biggest flood they'd ever had in like 100 years, and like cars were like washing off the side of the mountain into the water. And I was just watching my brother-in-law, and just the amount of work that went into planning a
Yeah.
wedding in Italy, and just to watch it, it ended up being beautiful, and there was no problems. But yeah, so
Nothing ever really goes the way you plan.
best
it.
laid plans.
Yeah.
They say
Yeah.
people plan and God laughs. So yeah, it's similar. So how long did you guys stay in New York after you got married?
We got married in 2000 and 11, and then we moved here in 2016, the end of 2016, so 5 years.
And now, is she working or no?
No.
Okay. And did you have a job in construction here right away, or?
Not straight away. No, we were here maybe 5 or 6 weeks. And just
Okay.
started making a few phone calls.
I gotta figure it's pretty easy to get a construction job down here.
Yeah.
I mean, just a lot of building going
Yeah,
on.
especially with my background of working in New York and stuff.
Yeah, you got legit credentials.
Pretty fast. Yeah.
Now you got 2 kids. You got Lila and Rio.
Yeah.
And Lila is 6 or thereabouts because
Mm-hmm.
she's my daughter's age in my daughter's class, and then Rio is 4.
He'll be 4 in July.
And Rio, man, this kid. if Ireland was a 4-year-old, it would be Rio. Just
100%.
big old. He's a bruiser, big old red hair. I mean, he's a lover and a bruiser. Sweet kid. But the reason I ask about Rio is it's because of an entry point to something else I wanted to discuss with you. Who's Rio named after?
Rio Ferdinand, soccer player.
And where did he play?
He played for Manchester United in England.
So you now what do we call it in Ireland? Do we call it footy? Do we call it football, soccer?
Yeah, football.
Okay.
I've been here so long, I now call it soccer
Now
because no one ever understood what I was talking about when I said football, so now I call it soccer.
Now was that something from a very early age you loved, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember watching the FA Cup final in 1983, so I was 3 years old. Manchester United were in it and they won it.
Have they always been your team?
Yeah, they were my dad's team, they were my eldest brother's team, they were my team. The brother that's just directly older than me, he supports Liverpool, so he's kind of
He's
the
odd
black
man
sheep
out.
in the family.
The black sheep of the family. Well, it's funny because Manchester United is like the one team a lot of non-fans in America know. So it's kind of the team that they're almost like the Yankees in America. Like everybody just buys that jersey.
Yeah.
But no one knows anything about them.
Yeah,
so
their global image is huge.
well, didn't the Glazers buy them?
Yeah,
or
they own them.
Do they own them?
Yeah.
Are they running them as well as they're running the Bucks?
If you ask a true Man United fan, a lot of the grassroots Man United fans hate them because they're taking the money out. They say that they're not investing in the team, which I don't think that's true because they've spent, £1 billion on players in the last 10 years. So I don't know if their heart is in the right place in terms of running the club, but I don't think they've done anything too
Hurt
wrong.
the club?
Yeah, I really don't.
Who are the big players on Man United?
Right now, Paul Pogba.
Okay.
We're going through a transition period
now,
so there wouldn't be a lot of household names. Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford is a England striker. Bruno Fernandes, we just bought him from Sporting Lisbon in Portugal. And then just a lot of younger
what leagues
players
are going on
through.
Are any leagues on right now?
Nothing.
So
Everything's cancelled.
Oh, because
Because
shit.
of the virus. Everything is done. Sport is done.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy. They just cancelled. There's the international, the European competition.
What's the one that's in the
It's
summer,
cancelled.
halfway between World Cup? It's like
The Euros.
that would have been the summer.
Yeah,
and that got canceled.
That was pushed to next year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So will they push the World Cup too, or will they just do it?
Well, the next World Cup is in Qatar,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
going to be held in like November and December. So
Okay.
they think with this break right now, it may work out in the scheduling that they could kind of push the seasons around for it to work like that. I don't know.
The greatest thing as an American about European soccer is you got to watch it at like 5 a.m. And so one of my favorite memories was going and what year was the World Cup when it was in Africa where they had the vuvuzelas or whatever those horns were?
2006.
So would you have been in New York then?
Yeah.
So I was up there for that World Cup, and it was amazing because everybody was like at bars drinking like super early in the morning,
Yeah.
and every TV in the city had the games on, and so you could hear that sound of that horn, just kind of a low register pitch, just
the vuvuzelas.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a
things.
weird one because there was that, and then they had those soccer balls that didn't have the seams on them,
Yeah.
and like people couldn't kick them, and
Yeah,
people,
it destroyed the goalkeepers. 'cause
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had
It
so
was
much
like
movement
throwing
in the
like
air.
a
Yeah.
curveball at
Yeah,
the goalkeeper.
yeah.
So I that was the first year that I kind of started to learn more. I mean, I don't. My buddy Madge and my brother-in-law AJ were much better to talk to you about it, but I started to pick it up a little bit more. And but it was so cool. I remember there was this bar that was under like a overpass on a little like canal or lake there, and they had the games on, and literally like 8 o'clock in the morning, we were drinking, watching the World Cup, and it was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I didn't. It didn't even register me that that's shut down too.
Everything's closed. I know.
What a bummer, man.
I know.
So, now we also have a shared love of Oasis, and
Yes.
because of Oasis, they're Man City fans. So I kind of became somewhat of a Man City fan because of them. Just because I love hearing them talk about it.
I won't hold that against you.
I know. They're
I don't hold it against them, so I can't hold it against you.
They're kind of rivals, aren't they?
Yeah,
I mean, they're the two teams there.
City rivals.
And what about in Ireland? Are there teams in Ireland? I mean,
There are, but they're not professional. They're like semi-pros. So
now, is it? Someone was trying to explain this to me. It's a little bit different than in the States, where like there's defined leagues. Like, isn't there some ways that if you do well enough, you can jump leagues? Or
there's relegation and promotion.
Okay.
So the bottom 3 teams in the Premier League will all drop down to the division below them this year, and the top 2 teams from the division below that automatically come up, and then the teams that finish from 3rd to 6th, they go into a playoff against each other, and the winner of the overall playoff gets promoted as well.
So technically, the Bucks should be like an arena football team or a Canadian football team, just based on performance alone. So,
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Brady's going to play for them. So
it's so
in the twilight of his career.
Hopefully your company can get the bid on whatever giant monstrosity he ends up building on Davis Island or something. He might just buy Derek Jeter's house or something like that. But I'm wondering what he's going to do, because he's going to have something down here. So I know that. I wonder if the realtors have already started licking their lips on figuring out where that's going to be.
Guaranteed.
So now you play the drums, right?
Yep.
It's hard to do. I know now with 2 young ones, but how did you get into the drums?
I started in a marching band when I was like 10 years old. There was a marching band in the town I grew up in, and I just always had an interest in drums.
Yeah.
One of my cousins was a drummer, so I think it maybe stemmed from that as well. But started in a marching band, learned there, and then just got into rock music. And
have you played in any bands?
A few school bands. I was getting into a band, and life always got in the way.
Right.
I was either moving countries or switching cities or having kids or whatever. So never really been in a full-time band, but I was in a band in high school, and we played 1 gig, which it's funny. I was just reminiscing about it last week at the wedding.
Yeah. Some of the other bandmates were there?
Yeah, bandmates and the other guys that were dancing around us.
Do you think Tampa is going to be your home for a while? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No plans to move?
No plans to move yet.
Good. I don't want to hear that you're picking up and moving again.
I don't think my wife could take it.
So aside from Oasis, who else are you into?
Oasis.
What's the name of the band we saw at the Orpheum?
The Glorious Sons.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. You introduced me to them.
Yeah.
And then when I met you the first time, there was when it was kind of at the school that our kids go to, they kind of had an open house, and was it the Frontiers or the New Frontiers?
Yeah.
Okay.
New Frontiers.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously in New York, the huge music scene. So I started getting into a lot of the more indie bands.
Yeah.
But growing up,
Any shows that stick out in your memory?
Well, my first show was Oasis.
Oh God, that's. So you and I have talked about this. My buddy Jesse and I have talked about this. I have like a set aside slush fund. I put like $20 in and change in that when they finally announce. I don't care if I'm in a parking lot outside. I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's in war torn whatever. I'm going. I'm gonna go to that.
Not to rub it in. I've seen them 9 times.
That's ridiculous.
But the first show, I mean, no matter who you see for your first show is always going to stand out. But this was in August of 1996, so I was 16, and the Bootleg Beatles opened for them. The Prodigy also played.
Oh wow!
They were fantastic.
Oh wow!
Absolutely fantastic. And then Oasis. And
now I'm trying to think. 96 was that would have at least been. Was it? What's the story? Morning Glory.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm remembering that. I liked the first album, but that was the album that just.
That was the one that skyrocketed.
Yeah, that was everything, and so 9 times. Holy shit!
Yeah, so they played Nebworth a couple of days.
Was Liam at all of them, or did he duck out some of them?
He was at all. He was at. Let me see, one in the Point Theatre in 1997. It's either 97 or 98. apparently he had a sore throat, so Noel played the whole gig.
Yeah, sore throat.
But it was a great show.
Yeah. Well, so the more I've gotten to know about him, like back then, Liam was the cool one because he came out in the parka. He had the tambourine. He put the mic way above his head and kind of just cock his head back and would barely do anything. And he just had that snark. But the more you get to know, I mean, Noel is that band. I mean,
Noel is the creative genius. He really is.
He wrote all the licks. He wrote all the lyrics. He's got a really good voice. I really like the High Flying Birds, which is who he plays in now.
Yeah.
And they're both just the funniest people in the world. Just hilarious. I could listen to them talk forever.
I think Noel, I mean, if you see the difference from the start of the interviews that he used to do to now, I mean, right now he's a comical genius.
Oh,
Stuff
he
that
really
says,
could
it is
go on tour.
It's golden. It really, really is. Liam, after coming back in his solo career, he had to open up more. He had to be, I guess, nicer to the journalists that were interviewing him. Whereas before he would sit there with an attitude and say, you know.
Well, it's a different time, you know.
Yeah.
Back then, social media wasn't around, cell phones around, so you could be a dick and it not kind of get out too much. But now, you know, you can't have skeletons in your closet because they're going to be shown on TikTok or Snapchat or whatever else. But there's a video that came out not too long ago, and it's Liam reading to a bunch of school kids, and it's so funny because it's like the amount of cocaine he's done, and just everything else, and all these little school kids. It's like, if you only knew.
Yeah, but it's funny. But yeah, they're huge influence. And then my brother, after he spent the summer in, I followed a lot of what my eldest brother did. I'm a Man United fan because he was a United fan. He spent like 6 months in New York, I think. And well, music-wise, when he came back, he introduced me to Counting Crows.
Oh yeah.
Blues Traveler.
Yeah.
You know, so once I started getting into them, and then once the internet started getting rolling, I was researching, and I would drive to Derry in Northern Ireland, which is about 45, 50 minutes away, to a tiny record store, because he was the only one around that would have obscure American artists. You know, so like Dog's Eye View. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Sure.
Or not. Yeah, so I used to drive up there and buy CDs off them or get them to order them in. And
even in the age of social media, which has helped me kind of expand my repertoire of what I listen to a lot, record stores are still so important.
For sure.
That's another thing that really scares me about what's going on now, is a lot of, record stores have been holding on by a thin thread, and something like this could close them up. So I've been talking to Rob Sexton over at Planet Retro in St. Pete, and I've been trying to get him on, but I any way that, like, I don't know what this is going to do to people's disposable income, but, I'm trying to say, if you've got time on your hands, right now is a great time to go out and start a record collection and listen to albums beginning and frontward. And then, I've had a number of musicians on, and I was like, if you've got time now, like, I'm hoping like 9 months from now, there's a Celtic tiger of music that comes out that just, was spawned by these time, because every time there's dark days, a lot of great music comes out of it. You look at 9/11 and these other things. So with this, you've got the intersection of, kind of scary times with a lot of free time on your hand. And so I'm hoping this turns into something positive in that way.
Yeah, I mean, all the small businesses, record stores, grocery stores, food restaurants and stuff like that, they're all going to hurt.
Yeah.
They really, really are. Like, so
scary stuff.
Hopefully the community can keep them afloat somehow.
Yeah. So what's on tap for you today? Do you have to drive down to Sarasota or out to Bel Air?
I got to go to Bel Air.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a meeting out there today.
Now, are you boots on the ground, or are you supervising, or both? Or?
I run the ceramic tile department.
Okay.
So a little bit of both. I'm in the office looking at jobs before we start them. I go out to the job site, check the conditions out there, and then while the jobs are going on, I'm constantly going there and checking up on the guys, making sure they have the right material, making sure they're putting the right stuff in the right place, and stuff like that. But
good times.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming by. This was awesome. Hopefully you'll come back. I could just talk with you about anything. Maybe when the elections happen, we can talk about that. It looks like Biden smoked Bernie last night.
Yeah. Did you vote?
Yes, I did. I did mail in.
Okay.
Didn't matter. I mean,
I voted, and
it mattered.
I hand sanitized and washed before I went in and after I left.
Yeah,
of all the warnings,
I was hoping Bernie would get it, but it's not looking.
I don't think it's going to head that
Yeah.
direction.
So now
unfortunately.
with Biden committing to a female vice president, I wonder who the pick's going to be.
Don't know.
Yeah.
One of the guys in my office is speculating that it could be Michelle Obama. Could you imagine that ticket?
Oh,
It's a good thought.
I didn't even think of that. That would be amazing. That might actually do something.
Yeah.
As long as it's not.
If it could,
I'm
mean,
fine
it
with Hillary. I don't have a problem with Hillary,
Yeah.
but as long as it's not Hillary.
I don't see it being Hillary.
Because that will be the death knell to
I
that
think
campaign.
maybe Klobuchar, or I don't know if Warren would run as
Klobuchar wouldn't
MVP,
get it.
but
Warren, I don't know if that would help. I like Kamala, but she's got a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama.
she would
I did
definitely
not
help
think
unify the
about
party.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be beautiful.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? It'd be something
Oh,
else.
please. Michelle, I know you're listening to this show.
Yeah.
Please. Please.
Here's hoping.
Please, please, please. Oh, that would be beautiful. Yeah. Well, that, and then anytime, whenever the next big tournament is, I'll have AJ and Madgen, and I'll just listen to the three of you talk soccer when we'll put a game on or something.
Nice.
I actually, it started, one of the things that I want to do is, so one of my friends, Billy Gower, he was on the show yesterday, and he used to wrestle up in Brandon and Plant City, and so there was a family in Brandon called the Grahalis family, and
Okay.
they were like amazing wrestlers. Like they were like countrywide best wrestlers, and so he got to wrestle with the Grahalis family up there. But he was talking about after wrestling meets, they used to do something called the Taco Bell Grande Challenge,
Okay.
which is, they would have to cut weight so they wouldn't be eating for like days before their meet. Well, after they wrestled, they would go order a grande meal, which is like 9 of whatever you choose from Taco Bell.
Okay.
And they'd each have a competition to see who could eat the grande meal the quickest. So I'm actually thinking of doing a televised, like on IGTV or Facebook Watch, a grande challenge in my conference room. And I want to pick 4 people and just videotape it and see who can do it first. And I'll just have buckets and like I'll have like saran, or what's the plastic? I'll put down some mats everywhere because someone's gonna yak. But anyway,
Make sure you line it with tarps.
yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on, Dave. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Love being here.
I wish you and your family health and good fortune moving forward.
Cheers. Appreciate it.